The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, it's been, guys, I actually can't believe it. When I went back and I looked today, I can't believe it's literally been 50 days. 50 days without no lives here on True School Sports. The last live was July the 1st. It was after Bam Rodriguez versus Guile. I haven't gone live since then because, as many of you guys know, and as many of you guys found out later on, I think it was July the 6th. July the 6th, I left to New Mexico for training camp with Angelo Leo, and just it's been crazy, right? Even before training camp, like moving here to Las Vegas. Actually, before I even get into that, like one thing I've come to realize about these lives is as much as it is, like, I guess you could say, like, entertainment for you guys, these lives are very therapeutic for me, and not going live for a long time made me realize how much I missed it and how therapeutic it is for me at times. So it's good to be here. I think before I went to New Mexico with Angelo, there's been a lot of things internally, like with this whole move to Las Vegas and just trying to adjust to life out here. I've been going through some stuff, away from YouTube internally, but it is what it is. I keep fighting. I'm a fighter in the game of life, and God has blessed me tremendously. I mean, that experience I had with Angelo out in New Mexico, being part of training camp, playing when I say a minuscule, I mean a minuscule role in what was what is gonna be, I believe, barring anything crazy, the knockout of the year. It's the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in boxing, and it's the most amazing thing God has ever blessed me to be a part of. So with that being said, and with that being firmly established here on True School Sports, this is, in fact, and I know we're 9 days after the fight, so I needed some time to process this one because it was the most significant fight for me personally. It was the most out of all the fights I've covered here on YouTube and been a part of. I think it was the most emotionally I invested I've ever been in a fight, and I needed time to process what happened. So we're here. It is in fact the aftermath of Angelo Leo shocking the world, and Venado Lopez, the 2024 KO of the year. And there's so much to discuss. And of course, as I progress through my talking points and as I get off what I need to get off as far as my boxing talk with Angelo, I'm definitely going to talk about some other things. So make sure you guys ask questions about other things you want to hear about as we get towards the end of the live. But before we get into the talking points and all that good stuff, let's go ahead and let's take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that I've already, given their comments and made their presence felt here in the chat. Shout out to everybody. The following star says, and shout out to the following star, a longtime viewer. He says, "What are your feelings on Canelo giving the finger to that oil money, BT?" I have a lot of thoughts about that. I actually want to do a whole live about it, but my short term, statement about that is I like it. I think Turkey needs to understand who it is he's talking to. He's talking to a guy that is the face of boxing in general, but not just in general. Definitely North America. Like these guys like Tank and Canelo, he's gonna have to, like, he can't be as authoritarian with them as he can these B-side fighters who just want his money. So I'll have more on that later on. But shout out to you, following. So good to see you. Boxing Kangaroo says, "BT, what's up? Team Leo, that's right. Team Leo in the building, that's right." Enrique Luna, what's good to see you? Good to see you, Enrique Luna. Shout out to my guy Shinobi. I had a pleasure meeting Shinobi at the fight. He was ringside. He was right there with me. So it was it was great meeting you, Shinobi. Shout out to you. Good to see you here. My main man, Talker, he says, "Been a long time, bro. I've been super busy, so I haven't been tuning in much. Hope you're good, my man. I haven't been live in 50 days, so you haven't missed much. I mean, I've been putting out like a lot of shorts and videos here and there. So, but this is the first live on the channel since July 1st, since the aftermath of Bam versus Guile. So you came back at just the right time. Will Angelo give you a Rolex if he becomes undisputed? I don't think I'm getting a Rolex, but I think him being undisputed will be good enough. Shout out to you. Shout out to Angelo. Shout out to Pops. He says Albuquerque stand up. Shout out to MAW. Again, congratulations to Angelo Leo, spectacular KO. Yes, so with that being said, guys, look, there's a lot to discuss. I just wanted to take some time to do a quick roll call and get everybody here acknowledged and whatnot. Leave your comments down below. Let's get straight into it because there's a lot to dissect when it comes to this. So we'll start with the actual fight. had time to really marinate on this fight. I've rewatched this fight so many times already. I've watched it I rewatched it with Angelo like 5 or 6 times already. Um, it was really the perfect fight. Like, you talk about the perfect nights in boxing, perfect execution. I mean, he did everything right. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people and dealt with a lot of people that were trying to tell me it was a close fight and that Angelo was getting punched on. Which, when I was at the fight, I only gave Venado 3 rounds, and I was doing my best to not be biased, but I just thought Angelo was so sharp counter punching wise, so sharp with the jab, so sharp with the body punching. He didn't really give Venado much time to get into rhythm and do the normal, like, spread his legs, and then the whole, like, the jab and the uppercut, or the lead uppercut that he likes to throw. Like, none of the stuff that he normally does, he wasn't able to really do it in the fight. So it came as a shock to a lot of the world, because a lot of people like to judge Angelo on what happened with Stephen Fulton years ago, and they didn't watch none of his fights on Pro Box. So a lot of people didn't even know that he had 3 fights at featherweight before he became before he fought Venado. They just thought he moved up from 22 to featherweight, but he already had 3 fights at featherweight. He was already one of the most active fighters at the world level before he fought Venado, right? And it was a lot of disrespect. So did it surprise me that he beat Venado Lopez? No. Did it surprise me that he beat him decisively? No. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it did surprise me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was in camp with him, mind you. I was in camp with him. I've seen him spar. I've seen damn near every round he had of sparring during training camp. I helped, I played a small role in game planning. I sat with them at 12 at night. We're watching, old fights, studying old fighters, breaking down certain fights and style matches that we felt were similar to this fight. And I'll tell you, even me, I was a little surprised with the fashion that he knocked Venado Lopez out in. So it's just crazy, and it's been crazy to see. I guess, like, the amount of media, the amount of media attention he's gotten since the win. That's why for fighters, like, you're always that one win away from everybody believing in you. You're always that one win away from people, like, bombarding you for interview requests. So I've seen Angelo do tons of interviews. Like, he did Porterweight podcast. He did interview with Aaliyah Orozco. He did stuff with, like, the news in New Mexico. It's just been really cool. The other day, we actually went ahead and we went to the Top Rank offices, and we were actually in Bob Arum's office, which is kind of crazy. So his life has changed, and I don't think his career will ever be quite the same. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy about that, because, for years I would bring his name up on this channel when I would talk about featherweights or 122 pounders in that 2-year period where he wasn't fighting, and people would say, BT True School, you're being biased. You're being a cheerleader for your friend. And it's not that I was being a cheerleader or being biased for my friend. It was more so the fact that I knew what he was capable of, and I know the caliber of fighter he is. And the crazy thing is, guys, he can still get better. There were some things that, game plan wise, I know Miguel and myself and the team wanted him to do that he didn't have to do, because he was that much better than Venado. So he hasn't even had a fighter at featherweight yet to really bring out the best in him. Hopefully that's Espinoza. Hopefully that's one of the other champions, or Inoue if he moves up. But he can actually get better. And so it comes as a shock to the world, but it doesn't come as a shock to me. And I'm just glad that he got the knockout in such a devastating fashion, because now people have to pay attention when I tell you things about him, because I was telling you guys for years the kind of fighter he is. And now I think if you just look at so far his whole run as a featherweight, honestly, the Venado Lopez fight, as great as it was, I think there's a debate that I can make, an argument I can make, that it wasn't even his best performance of 2024. Mike Plania, he stopped in 3 rounds and was dominating him for pretty much the whole fight until the stoppage, 1-punch liver shot. You can make an argument that the Venado Lopez fight isn't even his best performance in 2024. So with that being said, the real work starts now. Like, we're not getting complacent. I'm making it my personal business as his friend, to not help, to allow him to not get complacent. And he's disciplined on his own. He doesn't need my help, but just being a friend, I don't want him to ever get complacent, because now is when the real work starts. I'm thinking next fight he probably fights a voluntary, some guy in the top 15, as that's what most champions do when they get a belt. They don't normally just go straight into a title fight. They get a voluntary defense. So we're gonna pick a nice voluntary defense and give the Mexican fans a great show, and then after God willing, he takes care of that business, then hopefully he can unify one of the champions. Hopefully, Espinoza or Ray Vargas or Nick Ball comes to the table and he can go ahead and show you guys, continue to show you guys what he's really all about. But yeah, just a magical night. It was beautiful. We were there ringside. Me, Angelo's friend Paul Ponte, who was a former pro fighter. His beautiful son Aziel. We all had Johnny. You guys know Johnny. Just an amazing night, and I want to give the people in New Mexico a big shout out for making my time there, those 5 weeks, so memorable. That's the one thing I can say about New Mexico is the people there were just so cool. They had a lot of personality. The place has a lot of personality. So those are my opening thoughts on Venado versus Angelo. Not really a shocker. Venado was a great fighter, but like for example, I'm gonna play you guys the clip. And this clip that I'm gonna play for you guys was from the Inoue Neri live. It should be, where is it? It should be over here somewhere. Nonito, Angelo. So like, for example, like back in May when the fight first got announced and it was being talked about, a lot of people got in my comment section because people know I'm cool with Angelo and they started running their mouths. And I had to deal with things like this. This is why I'm so passionate and so spirited about what transpired on August 10th, 2024. Stuff like this. Venado Lopez versus Inoue would go crazy. I mean, look, it's a great dream, but unfortunately, that dream's getting crushed in August because Venado Lopez ain't beating no damn Angelo Leo. Angelo about to crush Venado. About to beat Venado. Respectfully, Venado's a good fighter, but people talking all this Venado Lopez stuff. I can't for August. I'm over the moon about August when Angelo becomes two-time champion. Two-time, two-division champion.
But shout out to your comment, though.
But shout out to your comment, though.
No. Inoue, please. Fuck the goals.
You know what, Kyle? I'm not going to engage in no more talk because you guys are going to give me out of character. Right? Yeah. All I'm going to say is, if you say so. That's going to be my line. Anybody who talks that Venado Lopez shit when it comes to Angelo, I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm just going to say, if you say so. And I'll see you after the fight. And so that's what I pretty much did. By the way, if anybody knows that guy, Kaio, who was in my comments for the Inoue Alive Fight Reaction Extravaganza, Kaio, if you see this, if you get around to this video and you see this, let me just say it like this. Kaio, exposed by Angelo Leo. Because people like him are running their mouth talking down on Angelo, and I didn't appreciate that. Very disrespectful stuff from people like him. But, God bless him. Thanks for watching. Your boy Venado got put on a highlight reel for life. But, let me get to some comments, man. I see what people are here. I see some interesting comments. Let me go to some comments because then I want to talk about training camp. Then I want to talk about the featherweight division with Angelo and the champions. Then I want to talk about Inoue, then Venado, all that good stuff. So let's get some more. Let's get to some more comments. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Don't be stingy. It's been a long time. Been 50 days since the last live, but I'm getting myself back into that rhythm now. So you guys are gonna be getting more lives this week, but shout out to my guy Ryan Cookie. He says Turkey's trying to take over the sport of boxing with his dirty money, making these fighters bow down to him for the money, and he's making the promoters hold his hand. You're not wrong about that. That's gonna be a live on its own. I don't want to get too deep into Turkey talk because there's so much that I want to say, and this live is really about Angelo. But yes, I agree. Shout out to Alex Pittsburgh. By the way, shout out to Alex. Alex came from South Florida by bus all the way to Albuquerque. And he saw the knockout of the year, so I'm glad you enjoyed the fight, Alex. Yes, sir. Good to see you, champ. Your dedication to the sport of boxing is inspiring. Yeah, thank you, man. I love this sport. It's the best sport in the world, and I'm so happy that God has allowed me to experience what I've experienced through it. Why are they still here? I don't know, man. It's just people are miserable and they can't put it together how the hell did Angelo knock out Venado? Venado was supposed to be the best featherweight. He was supposed to be the guy to fight Inoue. And Angelo went in there and just made him look like a C-class fighter, a D-class fighter. And now they want to say he wasn't that good and this, that, and the third. But before, they were talking about him versus Inoue. They were talking about all these kind of things. So, yeah, man. Talker says, you can go back to Japan with Leo to fight Tomoki Kameda after he wins on Saturday. Why would we have to go to Japan? He's the one with the belt. So, if he wants to go ahead and fight Angelo, he can come to Buke. He can come to New Mexico. Why would Angelo need to go there for Tomoki? Tomoki's a good fighter, but he ain't the one with the belt. He don't get to call the shots. And plus, his next fight is probably going to be a voluntary anyway, so you don't have to get the mandatory straight away. Be a good it'd be a good fight. And by the way, he has to beat the African Leorato Diamani, and he lost that. He lost the last time out. So let's not count our eggs before they hatch. But we'll see. I wouldn't mind it. Angelo versus Kameda would be a good fight for the future. Kameda's a former champion. He's Japanese. I do want Angelo to eventually fight Naya Inoue, so it would make sense to start fighting and beating up some Japanese fighters so he can build a bigger fan base in Japan. I would love that. So, we'll see what the future holds. The following star says, BT, how excited are you to potentially be on an Inoue card at MSG with Angelo one day? I don't think that would be cool. That'd be cool, but I'm looking more sort of fighting Inoue. It's cool to be on the card, but I want to fight him. I've been talking about Angelo fighting Inoue for a long time, so I want to definitely go ahead and fight him one day. Leo should unify next or fight a good title contender like Otabek Komotov. That guy deserves another title shot. I love Otabek Komotov, and if you guys remember, I did a video in January, and it was called 8 Great Featherweight Fights, and it was a list of 8 featherweight fights I wanted to see this year. And if you guys remember that, the number one fight on that list was Angelo versus Komotov. And so, look, I love Otabek. Otabek is probably my second favorite featherweight behind Angelo in the division. But Otabek right now, he's recovering from a knee injury. He needs to get back in shape and get back in the win column. So, if he can get back in the win column and Top Rank wants to make that fight, then why not? He's an amazing fighter, and I would love to see Angelo test his skills against someone like Otabek Komotov. I met Angelo and Johnny here for the Lopez versus Cabosa fight. They said I was crazy for putting 100 on. Yeah, I remember that. That was a legendary live. That was the same night as Fulton versus what was his name? Fulton versus Figueroa. I remember that very well. BT, how did the experience with Angelo affect your future as a boxing manager? What things did you learn most at the championship level of boxing or management? As far as me as a boxing manager, man, I know I was saying I wanted to do that. It's one of those things where you really need to be kind of like rich. You need to have money to lose, and I don't have money to lose right now at this stage of my life. But what I've learned is that let me see, what did I learn? I learned really, I got to see what making weight healthy looks like, because Angelo made his weight perfectly and Venado didn't. I learned the importance of high elevation training. There was a lot of things I learned. It's not just one thing I can pinpoint, but we'll see what happens with my future as a boxing manager. I still got more things to learn, but it's definitely great. Let me see. Angelo ended the hype train who only beat British trash cans. Leo is dope, but Venado was so overrated. Yeah, I mean, I was saying that for a while, but then when I would say it, people would say like, "Oh no, you're just a hater." And then we got someone that I know to show you, so you're welcome. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Yeah, Nick Ball versus Angelo be an amazing fight. Shout out to Nick Ball. I got a lot of love for Nick Ball. Angelo is going to take down the Mexican wall in the featherweight division. So yeah, you're talking about Espinoza and Vargas, and we'll get to all that. There's so much to talk about. Let me talk about this. Let me talk about this real quick, because this needs to be talked about. All right, because I really wanted to touch on the Santa Fe training camp, because this is where I feel the fight was won for us. We were really quiet about it. And I got to give a lot of credit to one of the best coaches in boxing, and one of the best people I know in this entire world, and that's none other than Miguel Leo. A guy that's not normally in front of the camera, but a guy that this whole training camp was his doing. He made the conscious decision to move Angelo from Vegas, where he normally trained, to Santa Fe. Why? Because Santa Fe elevation is even higher than Albuquerque elevation, and Albuquerque elevation is even higher than Vegas elevation. And this picture right here means a lot to me, because in this picture you have, obviously to the left, you got the best featherweight in the world, Angelo Leo. Right next to Angelo in the black and orange hat, you got Kevin Piedrahita, who's actually fighting Wednesday on Pro Box against Dominic Valle, looking to take his O. Make sure you guys tune in for that. Kevin is a really good fighter from Colombia. He's been put in tough his entire career. He gave Angelo the most rounds in camp, and you saw what Angelo did on fight night. So definitely check him out. I'm putting Dominic Valle on upset alert against Kevin Piedrahita. He's a really good fighter. Then in the middle, you got Joseph Maicero, 6-0 NABA lightweight champion, a guy that's I believe could be a potential diamond in the rough in boxing. Just needs the management and to get the right fights to make noise at 122. And then you got me right there looking, just doing my thing. And then and then to the right you got Johnny. So that was like the first half of camp. We also had another sparring partner, Jason Lugo, who only has one fight as a pro, but has a real awkward style. And this camp, man, like it was really good because I feel like everyone from the sparring partners, everyone played their role. Everyone had a common goal. Nobody had an ego. The sparring was good. I feel like Kevin got better as a fighter. Joseph got better as a fighter. Jason got better as a fighter. I got better with knowing more about how training camps work and vice versa. So it was definitely something to be a part of. Out of everything I've ever been a part of in boxing, nothing has ever been more significant than this training camp. Nothing. Because I got to really be part of something that was bigger than me. And every day in this camp house, we were out in the wilderness in Santa Fe, 7,000 plus feet elevation. And that's just where the house is. The mountains, it gets up to 10, 11, 12,000 feet elevation. And every day, we training, and then we come back, and it'd be late at night. And what are me and Miguel and Johnny and Angelo doing? We're watching Venado fights. We're doing film study. We're watching Oscar De La Hoya versus Ricardo Mayorga. We're watching what else fights we watch? We watched that fight. We watched Prince Nassim Hamed versus Barrera. Because these were all fights that we felt were similar style matchups for what Venado Lopez was bringing to the table and what Angelo was bringing to the table. And that coupled along with also, just constantly studying Venado's flaws. I mean, we watched Joet Gonzalez versus Venado like 50 times, sometimes even in slow motion, to the point where it was like, yo, I'm so tired. I got sick of watching Joet versus Venado. So our hard work paid off, and I wanted to give a shout out to the entire team. And this right here is the entire team from top to bottom. Everybody who was part of camp, I'm giving them the just due. I'm giving them their shout out. Obviously you had Angelo Leo, best featherweight in the world, and IBF champion. You had Miguel Leo, the trainer and father. His son, his 1-year-old son, Aziel, he was in camp with us. So he was running around, keeping us sharp and alert. I had to watch him sometimes. Sometimes it was Johnny, sometimes it was me, but shout out to Aziel. Luis Chavez, a great trainer. Assistant, he along with Miguel Leo trained Angelo and have trained Angelo for years. Luis Chavez done trained Danny Amaro. He done trained hella fighters to world titles, and now he's produced another championship for his career. I personally think Luis Chavez should get some consideration for the Boxing Hall of Fame, but that's my opinion. You got Andrew Chavez, Luis's grandson, who's currently learning to be a trainer himself. He was there. Jonathan Balgame, strength and conditioning coach extraordinaire. He did his thing. I mentioned the 3 sparring partners, Joseph Maicero, Kevin Piedrahita, Jason Lugo, and then you also had Johnny, who was part of the film study team. So that was Team Leo. This collection of people is responsible for, along with Angelo most notably, for what happened to Venado Lopez on August the 10th. And that Santa Fe training camp was, like I said, it was the craziest thing ever. I mean, the camp house had deers. I mean, we saw deers. We saw snakes near the house. I mean, it was really one of those things that you see on HBO, So there's so much I can say about the training camp. I'm not going to say too much because there's some things that I don't need to say on here, but I want to just thank everybody that let us use their facilities as well. They played a role, and yeah, shout out to Team Leo. I mean, I think the next training camp is going to be even better than this one. So looking very forward to seeing what happens in the future, and the Santa Fe training camp will be something I cherish for the rest of my life. Santa Fe, New Mexico, also a very beautiful place, somewhere that I'm surprised more people don't do training camps out there, because Colorado Springs, that's where Terrence Crawford trains. That's where the Olympic Training Center is. But Santa Fe actually has higher elevation than Colorado Springs. So it's a great place, and we're definitely looking forward to doing our next training camp there. So yeah, that's kind of like the long and the short of it when it comes to the training camp aspect of things. We got my man. Hold on. We got a super chat. Shout out to we got two super chats. So shout out to B Young with the super chat, $4.99. Good to see you, champ. And thank you for the super chat. Good to see you, and thanks for your contributions. And then my man Felipe, who came from Texas at the last second, he said Angelo made me $5,000 Thanks, bro. It was all donated to a good cause. Thank you. And I told you. Remember, you asked me in our group chat. You said, "Should I bet money on Angelo?" I said, "Yes. Bet the money. Do it. He's gonna win." And so I'm glad. I'm glad it all paid off for you. Good. Shout out to Felipe, a long-time viewer of the channel. You know, a long-time supporter of the Empire here on True School Sports. But let me see where we at right now, because there's a lot of comments, a lot of people chiming in. Man, he was underdog, got a good win. Shoot, Venado was on the roll, looking unstoppable. He was, he really was, and I just thought stylistically it was a great fight for Angelo. We knew that for months that it was. My man wants to know: do you think Leo is that guy, or was it a matter of time for Venado's lack of defense to get exploited? I think it was a bit of both. I think Angelo. If you guys ever talk to like or listen to people that have sparred Angelo Leo, so whether it be Shakur Stevenson or Sean Brewer, just ask anybody who sparred Angelo about him in the ring. They'll always tell you he's an A-level fighter. He's on that top elite level. So I think that was part of it, but I do think Venado, you can only get away for so long at the championship level, doing this and having your chin up and doing what he does. So if it wasn't Angelo that was going to exploit him, it was going to be somebody else at some point. I just think, but honestly, look, if I really sit here and think about it, if I look at Nick Ball, if I look at Espinoza, if I look at Ray Vargas, I'm not so sure any one of those guys would have exploited him, because I'm going to tell you why. And this isn't the power of Angelo. This is just like talking boxing. Nick Ball is 5'2" and relies on physical strength and his hand speed when he plants his feet to win fights. I don't think that would have been good for him, because I think in an exchange, Venado was the bigger puncher. He has the heavier artillery. Maybe he would have outworked him, but I would have favored Venado in that fight, right? Espinoza, I like Espinoza, and I would even, I personally would rate him above Venado, because I think he beat a better fighter in Robeisy than Venado beat at any point of his entire reign. But Espinoza's problem is his defense is so leaky to the point where he doesn't just get hit with shots, he gets hit with big shots. And luckily for him, Robeisy Ramirez didn't have the gas tank to really put him away when they fought. If you look at also when he fought Sergio Trino Sanchez, his last fight, Sergio Trino Sanchez never had anything for Rafael Espinoza. So I think his time's coming too. I think as much as I like Espinoza, and I don't want to talk down on him, because I'm a big fan of his, and I know his manager, and I do want Angelo to fight him one day, but I think his time is coming, just because I just think you can only get away with being defensively irresponsible for so long. So I kind of view Espinoza, and people may get offended when I say this, but I kind of view him objectively as kind of like a Jarrett Hurd type of fighter, a fighter that's all action, that's exciting, that's worth watching, that is champion, that can on his night beat the best guys. But I think he's going to be here for a good time, not a long time. So we'll see how long it lasts. A lot of people have told me that he's the best featherweight, that he would splatter Angelo and beat him up. I beg to differ. So I think it's a bit of both. But I'm not so sure that any of the guys that had belts would have did that to him, just being honest. So we'll see. We got another super chat. Shout out to my guy, David Esther. He says, where's David at? David's right over here. He says, Shakur is getting ready to cherry pick Joe Cordina. Why can't Shakur or Tank fight Eduardo Sugar Nunez? Because, man, Eduardo Sugar Nunez is extremely dangerous. He's bad for a lot of these guys' health. Eduardo Sugar Nunez is the real deal. And what I find funny about the situation is that, Sugar Nunez, he became, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he was Joe Cordina's mandatory challenger. And, he's a Mexican knockout artist, all action fighter. So you would think Eddie Hearn would be jumping to make that fight with Cordina and Sugar Nunez before Cordina got rid of the belt, because I think he got rid of the belt. But no, Eddie Hearn's not really moving too quickly on that one. And as far as Shakur, he's not going to fight no damn Sugar Nunez. He's trying to get those big fights, and right now Sugar Nunez doesn't qualify as that, and he's not big enough yet, to command that kind of fight. And that's just the truth. But in a perfect world, I wish he would get one of those fights, because Eduardo Sugar Nunez, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting Mexican fighters in any weight class in boxing. So, me and you have been on one accord with this for a long time, and that's just what it is. So we'll see how it goes. Let me see what else we got. I saw a question from a man supporter of boxing. He wants to know, what do I think about Iglesias, the Cuban, the southpaw. I had a chance to watch him fight. I've been hearing a lot about him for a little bit of time now, but I finally had a chance to watch him fight on that card. Good fighter. I gotta watch more of him. I know he trains out there in Germany. Southpaw, big puncher. Beat the brakes off Senna Egbeko in like 2 rounds. Seems to be cut from that like David Morrell cloth of Cuban fighters. So we'll see how it goes for him. I don't have a in-depth opinion about him yet. I gotta watch more of him, but he looks promising, and it looks like he's gonna be a factor at 68 because Benavidez ain't at 68 no more. Morrell himself ain't at 68 no more. So if he's any good, he should pick up a title here in the next year or so. That's how I feel, you know. And thank you for reminding me. Cordina got smashed by Anthony Cacace. I completely forgot about that. That's right. He didn't vacate the belt. He got his ass whooped by somebody he was supposed to beat. Yeah. So I just think I think if Anthony Cacace did it to Cordina, Eduardo Sugarnias would have did ungodly things to Joe Cordina. No doubt about it. I know you can't do math in boxing, but sometimes you can do math in boxing, and that's a math problem that's not too hard to work out. But getting back to the matter at hand, right? Because I touched a little bit about Angelo in training camp. I talked about him shocking the world. I want to talk about the doubters, people that still believe, because people that still doubt. Because you guys know here on this channel, and shout out to him. I got a lot of love for this brother right here, Raymond Ford. But I had to go revisit. I had to go talk to our good buddy Raymond Ford because, when I got back from New Mexico to Las Vegas, I decided to start going on social media and seeing if anybody had said certain things about Angelo. So I saw Raymond Ford's Twitter account. I went on his Twitter account and I started scrolling all the way down. Sure enough, I find this tweet right here, August the 10th, the night of the fight. He says, Venado Lopez is going to stop Angelo Leo. Now, for context, Raymond Ford has never thought highly of Angelo ever. I've heard him say on numerous occasions, not just to me, but just in general, to other people, on Instagram and stuff. He's never thought highly of him, which to me, to each his own. We all have an opinion here, but I think Raymond Ford needs to be a little bit more humble. He was only world champion for 89 days. He did prove me wrong in the fight of the year against Otabek Komatov, but here's what he said. He said, Lopez is going to stop Angelo Leo. And then I said to him, and this is like 5 days after the fight, I said, you should have listened to Shakur. I've been trying to tell you about Angelo Leo, 2-division world champion. Your fight versus Otabek is still fight of the year for me. Do your thing at 130, which, by the way, I'm excited to see Raymond Ford at 130. I think he's going to be a great addition to that weight class. To that, Ford said, good fight, great shot. I still don't think much of him, but he's got heart, though. So I don't understand. So Raymond Ford just won his first world title this year and didn't even hold on to it for 90 days. He held on to it for 89 days. And he don't want to give Angelo credit. So, look, if I hope, God willing, we have a nice successful run at 126, and God willing, he's still there at 30, because I would love that fight one day. But it's all, listen, he's supposed to think he's the best and not think much of anybody around his weight class. So, shout out to Raymond Ford. I got all the respect in the world for him. I enjoyed his fight, but I don't know. I didn't think it was cool how he said he didn't think much of him. He's 2-division champion. You're not even the 2-division champion yet. So that's just my opinion. But look, he ain't the only one. Like, Raymond Ford ain't the only one. A lot of people have been talking negatively about Angelo, and don't want to give him his just due. And I'm gonna out those people on this live. This dude right here, Lou Spooky 779. This guy was running his mouth the most, like probably in the top 3 people in the world, running his mouth the most before this fight. He even went back and deleted some comments that he made because he looked like an idiot talking about how Angelo was going to get stopped by Venado. But this is from a short I did of Angelo 5 months ago. And the title of it was like Angelo Leo training to beat Inoue, Komatov, and someone else. And he said, oh, he's not going to beat Inoue or whatever. He might as well forget about that. So I responded to him. That was 5 months ago. I responded to him like a week ago, and I told him his ass is going to get it in 2025. We're just waiting for him to stop playing in the kiddie pool. But anyway, look, long story short, he talked a lot negative about Angelo before the fight, talking about Venado's going to do this, Venado's going to do that, and he's not learning his lesson. So I'm thankful for guys like this, because now it's gonna give me even more motivation to continue to watch film and dissect these guys and give that information to Angelo, and so we can continue to produce highlight reel knockouts like we did on August 10th. And we don't care, I personally don't care if it's against Espinoza, Ball. We're not gonna go look for the knockouts, but if some of these guys don't tighten up on their flaws, they could be like Venado. So I'm not trying to down talk nobody or be arrogant, but a lot of people, you beat one guy and then they say, well, you can't beat this guy, you can't beat that guy. So I look forward to proving guys like this wrong, because this guy ran his mouth unbelievably a lot, just a lot. I mean, and there was just so much disrespect going into the fight. Like this guy, Adrian Ramirez, who I like. He's been a long time viewer of the channel. Shout out to Adrian Ramirez. But like, look, this is a comment from May, all right? And he was saying, what did he say? He said, you're saying Angelo will beat Venado because he's your friend, but Angelo doesn't have the power to even make it a fair fight. Look how disrespectful that is. I like Angelo. He's a good fighter, but facing Venado will get him hurt. To be fair, I actually don't think Angelo could beat any of the champions, to be honest. So he not only was he proven wrong once, because not only was it a fair fight, Venado Lopez got ruined and will probably never be the same. And Venado Lopez was looked at to be the best champion in the division. He was the longest reigning champion in the division with the most defenses at that particular time. And Angelo beat the hell out of him and put him on a highlight reel for life. So he was wrong there. But like this is what I'm talking about. The disrespect. Him saying things like, I can agree that Angelo might beat Aber Conlon, but I don't think he can beat Joet Gonzalez. Are you serious? Joet? You talking about some Joet? Hold on, I gotta stand up because now I'm getting fired up. Just reading that. That's an old comment. Just reading that, I'm getting fired up. You talking about Joet Gonzalez? And I got nothing against Joet Gonzalez. Joet Gonzalez is a hardworking fighter. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But like, man, I watched Joet Gonzalez like 50 times during camp, and I can tell you all about Joet Gonzalez. Joet Gonzalez is a hardworking pressure fighter. Doesn't fight with a lot of confidence. Very unsure of himself. Angelo would have a cake. That would be I don't want to disrespect him, but that would be a very favorable fight for us. So for people to even insinuate that Joet could compete with Angelo, let alone beat him, to me is disrespectful, because Joet has never, ever broken through at the world championship level, and he's had more opportunities than most. All right, Angelo been champion like 4 years ago, and now is champion again. So this is the kind of disrespect that I'm talking about. This is why I'm still posting about Angelo all these days later, because people are saying we can't beat Joet Gonzalez. Like, how disrespectful can we get in boxing? So that's really how I'm coming. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Listen. We got the man here himself, the Dundada, my man Sean Tatel. He says, "Hey, at least Ray Ford was respectful with you. That's cool." And it was. And look. I like I love Raymond Ford. As a person, I think this year the build up to Komatov Ford and the moment we had after the fight, and then even seeing him in Vegas for the Espinosa fight week, just it was cool. I got nothing against him. But yeah, I would say that Ray Ford and Angelo have the best performances of 2024. The two fights that I feel at least set my soul on fire as a boxing fan was Ray Ford versus Komatov and Angelo versus Venado. So definitely for sure. Oh my God. BT, what about Abdullah Mason versus Daniel Bailey? First of all, I love both of them. They're both personal friends. They're both friends of the program, friends of the channel. But if I remove my feelings for a second, I don't like that fight for Daniel Bailey. I think it's good for Abdullah. I feel like Bailey's a good counterpuncher, experienced. Been in there with some. He was in there with Edward Vasquez. He fought one of Calvin Ford's fighters on Red Owl Boxing and counterpunched the hell out of him. He's from the crib. He's from South Florida. I love Daniel Bailey. Obviously, I would favor Abdullah in that fight. Daniel Bailey would have to fight way out of his skin to win that one. I just think Abdullah's combination of punching power, size, IQ, yeah, he beats him. But that'd be a good fight. Brendan, what's good, bro? It's Andrew. Yes. Shout out to Andrew Chavez. He said Andrew Chavez, part of the team. He says it's Andrew from Berkeley. Good to see you, Andrew. Hope all is well. Hope you took some valuable experience from camp. Listen, guys, my man Andrew. He's gonna make one hell of a mitt man one day, just like Luis Chavez, just like his dad, Rudy was. Yes, sir. BT, I don't know if you talked about it, and I'm getting to that. I'm getting to Venado. Just bear with me, because I want to really go ahead and talk my shit this live, because I had to hold in a lot during this build up in this camp. There were days where I wanted to be disrespectful to people during camp. I had to wait till after the fight. So that's what we're doing now. Going back to Collins 5 months ago was wild. Well, yeah, listen, I know we don't do that, but in this case, it was special. It was a special occasion. I had to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about, man. I still got to talk about. Let me see. We got. Listen, I'm gonna say it like this. God bless Shakur Stevenson, and we'll go to screen share, because Shakur Stevenson, he knows the caliber of fighter Angelo Leo is, and I want to give him his credit because I know they sparred a while ago, and a lot of people I see on Twitter have their assumptions on what they think happened in that sparring session. I know a couple of people that were there that day, and so I know what happened in that sparring session, and I know that Shakur knows how good of a fighter Angelo is, and that's why the week of the fight, Shakur Stevenson was tweeting stuff like this. He said, "I'm about to win some money on Angelo Leo. Hopefully, he's been training his ass off. I just dropped some bread on him." Right? So that was August 9th. That was the day before the fight. The day of the fight, which is August the 10th, he says, what did he say? So Venado tweeted him that day. And personally, I don't think it was actually Venado. I think it was like probably someone from his team. But he said, "Look, let me guess, you ran to make a bet like you run in all your fights. # boring fighter." That was the afternoon of August 10th. The night of August 10th, Shakur tells Venado, "Thank you for winning me my money. I just made a light 12K because I knew you was going to get slumped. Now go to the gym and work on your fucking defense and maybe watch some of my tape, dickhead. # chasing greatness." So he knows, and I just wanted to give Shakur Stevenson a shout out because a lot of fighters in boxing, and it was even a lot of fight. Like I'm not gonna name no names, but when I see them in person, I'll bring it to their attention. But there's fighters that I've seen spar Angelo and be happy and be nice and be cool to his face, and then when a camera gets stuck in front of them, they're working with Venado and they're saying Venato's gonna knock him out. And I didn't appreciate that. So it was good to see a fighter of his stature, recognizing Angelo before he got the knockout of the year. So shout out to Shakur Stevenson. Hopefully he can get people back on his side and whatnot. Because I still do like Shakur Stevenson. So shout out to him. Okay, next talking point, which is right now the featherweight picture. Because the featherweight division is interesting, and I told you guys before 2024 even started, before Angelo Leo was champion, before Raymond Ford and Komatov put it down with the fight of the year, I told you guys 2024 was going to be the year of the featherweight division, and guess what? Thus far, it's been that. Right now, this is our title picture. We got right now Angelo Leo's holding the IBF belt, Ray Vargas holding the WBC. Espinoza holds WBO, and Nick Ball is holding the WBA. So let's talk about the featherweight picture. And I'm going to tell you guys why I think Angelo is the best featherweight of the champions right now. So we'll start with what does each fighter have going on right now. Right now, every fighter in the division, with the exception of Vargas, has a fight announced. Angelo just fought Venado. His next fight is going to be a voluntary. Vargas hasn't announced a fight yet. We know that Brandon Figueroa's name was attached to his, but right now nothing's been announced. Right now, Espinoza has. Right now, it's been stated through the media, and I have good sources that are close to Espinoza that have confirmed to me that he's fighting Robeisy Ramirez next in their rematch. So that'll be a good fight. And then Nick Ball is fighting Ronnie Rios, who's also a pro box fighter out there in Liverpool, I believe, next month in September. So everyone either just fought or has a fight coming up. But either way, you cut it up, slice and dice it. Whether Robeisy beats Espinoza or Ronnie Rios beats Ball, I think Angelo's the best featherweight in this division, honestly. Why? Well, he's the most complete featherweight in the division. If you look at him just as his featherweight run, so from the Nicholas Polanco fight to now, Polanco, Planilla, Baez, Venado, he's 4-0 at 3 knockouts. And in those 4 fights, he's shown you guys a little bit of everything. He showed you guys the ability to box from the outside, to counterpunch, to slug, to be an inside fighter. He scored not 1, but 2 one-punch knockouts, 2 one-punch knockouts, 1 one-punch knockout to the head, 1 one-punch knockout to the body. So he's shown himself to be a versatile knockout artist in this weight class. When he fought Polanco in his debut, he beat his arm out of his socket. So he can grind you down or he can get you out of there with 1 punch. People are making a big mistake, I feel, judging him off of anything he did at 122, because 122, Angelo was a kid compared to this guy. This guy has gone through a lot of shit since he was at 122. He's had a kid. It's a lot of different things. I think he's also, of these 4 fighters, if you want to just be honest, he's the best like I know people don't associate Angelo Leo's name with defense, but I would venture to say he's the best defensive fighter of the three fighters. Espinosa's defense is extremely leaky. Ball's defense is extremely leaky. Maybe you can make an argument for Ray Vargas, but we've seen it in fights from Ray Vargas. We've seen it in like the Maxao fight. We've seen it in the Oshaki Foster fight. We've seen that if you can get past the lead hand of a guy like Ray Vargas, he's very beatable. Even though he only has one loss on his record in 38 pro fights, he's still a very good fighter, multiple division champion, fantastic. But he's just the most complete featherweight. It's just anybody who watches him at 126. Don't go off 122. It's kind of like when I was, and I'm gonna use myself as an example. Like judging Angelo for what he did at 122 is very similar to me when I was judging Raymond Ford off of his fights when he fought like Vasquez and Aaron Perez. You know, he rose to the occasion against Komotov, and he showed himself to be better than he was in those fights, right? For that fight, Angelo has been consistently good at featherweight. So, who do I think of the champions would be the hardest fighter for him to beat? I'll tell you this: I think in chronological order from easiest to hardest, I think the easiest fight of the bunch would be Vargas. I think the second hardest fight for him would actually second easiest fight would be Rafael Espinoza, and believe it or not, I think the hardest fight would be Nick Ball, because Nick Ball is very physically strong. He's shorter, so it's a bit of a harder target to hit, and you know, Angelo does like to plant his feet, so I think Nick Ball, if they get into an exchange, Nick Ball does have some pretty good hand speed. He could present some problems in exchanges. But I would favor Angelo Leo to beat all of the featherweight champions. And for those of you guys who keep saying like Rafael Espinoza, I like Espinoza, and I'm hoping like we get the honor to fight him. I hope he beats Obasi again, and I hope we get the honor to unify the titles. I want to see Angelo as a Mexican American Chicano from Burque get the opportunity to unify with Espinoza, because I genuinely think Espinoza is, while he is a very good fighter, I think Espinoza is I don't want to say he's tailor made, but it's damn near to like he's a very beatable fighter for Angelo. And we just want the opportunity to I just want Angelo to get his chance to prove himself against a guy like Espinoza. So it's a very interesting weight class. We all know that these guys are vying for the opportunity to be the guy in the division, so that, you know, they can get the fight that every fighter around these weights wants, which is the Inoue fight, the Inoue payday. That's the equivalent in these weights of getting a Canelo payday, right? So now you're Inoue, if he does come up to featherweight, you know, anytime soon, I think right now you have to say that Angelo is the front runner, because he knocked out the guy that was at the time regarded as the best featherweight by many in the division, the longest reigning champion of all the featherweights in the division, and a guy whose name was linked the most to fighting Inoue in the division. So if he knocked him out in sensational fashion, he takes his place in the queue until someone can knock Angelo off. And truth be told, I don't think any of these champions can knock off Angelo. Not a. I don't want to say not a chance in hell, because that's being cocky, but all these guys have to fight significantly better than they've shown so far to even have a chance. I'll be honest with you, and that's just how I'm coming. And that's not to put them down. They're all very good. Ray Vargas is like a 3-division champion, skillful boxer from the outside. He comes from the Nacho Berenstein School of Boxing. He didn't become 36-1 and multiple division champion. Actually, he's good. Rafael Espinoza beat Robesi Ramirez as a massive underdog. Very good fighter. Nick Ball. I remember watching Nick Ball when he fought Isaac Lowe, and he beat a very good fighter, Raymond Ford. In a fight that a lot of people didn't even think he'd win. So, you know, they're all very good fighters. But to me, when you really get into the tape, when you really get into the skills, and I know people may say I'm biased because, you know, I am part of the film study team for Angelo and whatnot, and I was part of camp and all these kind of things, but he's just got the most tools. He got the most tools. So unless one of these guys hits him with an eraser and gets him out of there, they're not beating him. They're not. If you want to use the Stephen Fulton fight, like a lot of people have been bringing up Stephen Fulton's name. And and mind you, I love Stephen Fulton. I think Stephen Fulton's an exceptional fighter. I got all the respect in the world for Stephen Fulton, and I would love for Angelo to at some point get the rematch with Stephen Fulton. But Stephen Fulton has to beat Carlos Castro on September 14th, and then he has to straighten out the problems he has with Al Heyman and PBC because he's upset that he's fighting on the prelims, so he has to escape the prelims, and then we'd love to see Stephen Fulton, get some momentum and do the rematch at some point because that's probably one of the best fights that can be made in the division right now, and I know Angelo wants to avenge that loss. So look, take it how you want to take it. Say I'm biased, say whatever. Angelo Leo is the best featherweight in the world, and I don't care who they put in front of him. I don't care if it's any of these guys on the screen. I don't care if it's Shushu Carrington, who I love dearly. He's a friend of the program. I don't care if it's Oda Beck, who I also like a lot as a fighter. I just think Angelo has the most tools, and it's not. And you know what? It's not so much just his tools. It's his love for boxing. I think he loves boxing more than any of these guys in the division. Like he loves camp. He don't watch nothing but boxing. He don't watch TV shows. He don't watch other sports. His life is boxing. He never gets tired of boxing. And I just think when you have that level of obsession for anything, like a Kobe Bryant in basketball, or a Lionel Messi in soccer, or like a Kanye West in music, you having a level of obsession for anything like that, that along with being skillful is a hard guy to beat. And I think at this weight class, he's gonna be a hard guy to beat for a very long time. So best of luck to anybody that does sign a contract, that we do fight. We respect all of the opponents, but that's just what it is. So let me get some comments because I had to get that off. But shout out to everybody here. Carl says, BT, you've been rocking with Angelo for a long time. You deserve the right to talk. Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I've been watching Angelo since he fought Mark John Yap in 2019. I've been following him for a long time. Ray Vargas got a face that only a mother can love. Damn. He talking that shit. I haven't got the opportunity to score the fight before the knockout. Not that it matters. I could tell Angelo put a ton of effort after his last performance. He did, because we all knew it. I mean, we had that conversation that night after the Baez fight. We all knew that it was a good performance, but it was that Angelo was not going to beat Venado Lopez. He had to up his game, and we did, and he did in a major way, and it showed. No one would have blamed Angelo if he would have took another tune-up before Venado. He made the best of it. Exactly, and I knew come fight night he was going to be ready. Inoue would beat Leo. I know he's your guy. Oh, well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think he's got to still get better at some things. There's some things I think he needs to tighten up on. But the thing is, Inoue, see, like, and you're gonna segue into my next talking point because my next talking point was specifically about the Inoue fight. Inoue, he needs to, like, he's wasting time. Like, he's going down there. He's fighting TJ Doheny. He's already said he's gonna stay at 122 longer. So I'm thinking he's gonna fight TJ Doheny. He's gonna fight Sam Goodman. He's going to fight Merjon. He's going to fight all these guys. And give it some time. So we'll see. Tell Leo to hold his belt tightly until Inoue moves up. Oh, we will. And when Inoue moves up and he fights for them belts, those belts are staying with Angelo. They're not going with Inoue. I'm making that very clear. BT, can you be honest with us? Does Angelo really want the Inoue fight? Does he really think he can beat him? Yes. Long before, I'm gonna tell you guys like this. Before Angelo beat Tremaine Williams, before Angelo fought Alameda, before he was a featherweight, he's always talked about this fight with Inoue. He's always talked about beating him. We all think he could beat him. Nonito Donaire thinks he could beat Inoue. I know, take that with a grain of salt if you want to, but he said that. Yes, we talk about that fight all the time. And trust me, if you thought that he was ready for the Venado fight, if the day ever comes, and God willing, you guys know Inoue is one of my favorite boxers, as is Angelo, of course. When that day comes, he's going to be prepared, and he has every tool in the world to beat him. I know a lot of people are not going to believe that. They're going to say I'm being biased, like I was for Venado. They're going to say they're not going to give him a chance. They're going to say Inoue's too fast. He's this, he's that. But all I'll say is just give us. Don't write him off. Don't write him off. You may be in for a big shocker. Felipe says Leo will beat all of them. He has an advantage of having the IBF belt because the same day went. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Like Venado, that worked against Venado. Venado had to do the same day weigh-in, and he was feeling that weight cut, and he was feeling the altitude, and he was feeling Angelo on top of him. So it was a sad state of affairs for Venado. But yeah, to get back to the comment about does he really think he could beat Inoue? Yes. Why wouldn't he think that? Angelo Leo is quite possibly, no, he is. They know quite possibly he is the hardest working fighter I've ever been around. I haven't met a fighter yet in all my 9-10 years covering boxing. You guys know I've been around the world. I've been South Florida, New York, LA, Texas, Nicaragua, Japan, England. I've been in some places. I've met a lot of different fighters. I don't know anybody who loves boxing more than Angelo. I don't know anybody who and I'm not saying Inoue don't work hard. Inoue is a great fighter. He is who he is for a reason. But of course, he thinks he can beat Inoue. And I know the day that contract gets signed, nobody will give him a chance. I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments from people not saying that he's not that good and Inoue is going to beat him in 3 rounds. And I just hope when that doesn't happen and Angelo walks out with the belts and Inoue has an L on his record that you guys don't call him a hype job like you call Venado a hype job. Please give him his respect, But sticking Inoue because you guys mentioned it. There's a lot to discuss and unpack with this because I think there's a lot of confusion about what the plan is for Inoue. And I had the opportunity to interview Bob Arum about a month and a half ago. And I asked him, what's the plan with the featherweights in Inoue? And here's what he said.
The plan is to see at the end of the year who the champions are in featherweight. And then line them up to fight Inoue.
Okay.
Why would they fight each other in a match that wouldn't involve that much money when they can fight Inoue probably in Japan for 3 or 4 times the money?
Correct. Maybe the line I thought would have been like, so there could be like just one established guy,
But that's only one fight. That's only one guy getting the reward for fighting Inoue.
Correct.
This way it'll be 2 or 3 guys
getting the reward.
Yeah, who and we don't know how dominant Inoue is going to be stepping up another weight class.
So there you have it. Bob Arum is pretty much telling you guys, and if you guys are looking for featherweight unification, like, look, I want featherweight unification. I want it to be clear. I made that clear. I know Angelo wants featherweight unification, but if Bob follows through on what he says, it don't sound like any of these guys are going to unify. He's telling y'all they're not going to fight each other because why have one guy fight Inoue when we could have all the guys fight Inoue? And I get what he's saying. I didn't think of Bob as such a charitable guy. I would have thought that they would have wanted to have one established guy at the weight, but I guess not. So if that's the case, then, we might not get featherweight unification. We may have to wait. So I guess it may just come down to who the hell is actually going to have the best performances. If they're not going to fight each other, then it'll come down to who has the best performances. But somebody asked me, like, what do I think about Angelo versus Inoue and whatnot. Here, look, I don't know if you guys seen this. I did an interview with Nonito Donaire back in December because he sparred Angelo. Angelo stopped him with a body shot in sparring. He even said it himself. He's the only guy to stop him in sparring with a body shot. And he's also fought Inoue. Angelo was one of Donaire's main sparring partners for the Inoue rematch. And, he actually stopped Donaire in sparring that camp. And that's maybe that might have played a role in why he got blitzed the way he did in the rematch. But here's what Donaire had to say about Angelo versus Inoue.
Perspective on this, because you fought Inoue and you sparred Angelo, and they might fight in the future if Angelo becomes champion. Would you give Angelo a chance in that fight to beat Inoue?
100%. I told Angelo this. There's a way to beat Inoue. You can't beat him if you're slower, but you can beat him by pressing. The thing is, Inoue got no. I won't say no, but he it's lessened when you because he has shorter arms.
Okay.
Right. So when you press him to the point where you're at his face, his power is diminished greatly because
you can smother him.
Smothered. Mm-hmm. But because you get a guy who's wide, he's gonna smother him like that, and that's why Inoue, as he goes up in weight, he's gonna need to box even more, because if you have a guy who just smother your punches, it's gonna be very difficult for him. And I think Angelo can make it a very, very tough fight for him. That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. I think the same thing, but a lot of times, like the Inoue fan base on YouTube, they say he has no chance.
So there you have it. He gave his assessment of the fight. I agree with some of it. I think Inoue, when Inoue does have to come to 126. See, the thing is, and I think people don't really think about this because they just look at what Inoue's doing to Stephen Fulton and Neri and these kind of guys. And they think that he's going to come to 126 and start whacking dudes at 26. And he's not going to do that at 26. He's going to have to box more, especially if he starts boxing a guy like an Angelo that can smother your punches. And even if it's not Angelo, if it's anybody that has the ability to smother his punches, that is bigger, that can put their weight and size on him at all, he's going to have problems. And he's going to have to box more. So the Inoue that you're seeing, that you're putting on this pedestal with this God complex, he's gonna be a little bit different at featherweight. Even if he's winning, it's gonna look a little different. I actually think that, let's just say if Inoue does beat up everybody at featherweight, I just think it's gonna look a little different. And I think he's gonna have some fights where he shows vulnerabilities, and you're gonna get people saying, I think people are gonna be saying that he got exposed when he loses a couple rounds. Like, there's gonna be fights like that for him. So just remember I told you this. But it's a great fight. I get Angelo wants a big payday. He even proved my doubts wrong. However, I don't think Angelo has a style to beat Inoue. I don't even want to get into the style breakdown because I know the Japanese watch this channel, even though there's only 24 people here. They may come and they may start stealing some of the things I'm saying. But he says it's a dangerous fight. As a friend, I think you need to be more aware. If the fight gets made, Angelo needs to prepare accordingly, even more than what he put in for Venado. Oh, trust me, you have not. What you guys don't understand, and it's like I almost don't even want to say this a lot, but I'll say it. Like, what you don't understand is Angelo's been preparing for that fight since before he fought like Tremaine Williams. That's been a fight that's been talked about for years. So I could tell you guys all this to the cows come home. I could tell you guys what I think. You're not gonna believe me. So all we can do is just keep having these great performances, continue to bring exciting fights to the boxing world, continue to show, not just talk, because Angelo don't really talk. I'm probably the guy that does the most talking. I don't want to say for him, but about him in boxing. And I don't want him to just be a talker. He's not a talker. Angelo hates talking. He likes to be silent and mysterious. He's very to himself. But you're gonna see, and everyone who don't believe is gonna see. Everyone here, everyone in this chat, everyone who watches the playback, everyone who's ever said anything negative about that matchup, you're gonna see. And mind you, I'm not putting Inoue down, so don't take this as me putting him down. But I don't think Inoue is as durable of a fighter as Venado Lopez. I don't think that he can withstand getting hit as many times as Venado Lopez did against Angelo. Look at Inoue when he fought Neri, got dropped. The one time, like one of the few times Neri hit him flush, he got dropped. Donaire in the first fight broke his orbital bone, right? And credit to him, he fought back. He showed that he has the heart of a champion, and he showed why he's great. And I give him all the credit for those things. But I don't see him being more durable than Venado Lopez, and I think he's gonna get hit a lot. And I think he's gonna be in a fight he's never experienced before. So. Again, I don't want to run my mouth. I'll let Angelo run his mouth. I'll play you guys a clip. When I've asked Angelo about this fight several times, here's what he said. Because now you're kind of on that path now. You rank, you get a title shot, you win. All of a sudden, you may get that fight down the road.
Yeah, that's a fight we want. We know Inoue he's a pound for pound, one of the best in the world, and what better way to sell my career with a fight over Inoue?
Yeah. How do you feel like stylistically you guys would match up?
I think it'd be a very competitive fight. Of course, I think I'll come out with the victory, but it's gonna be a very fun fight, definitely.
Yeah. Because me and your dad were talking earlier. The Japanese fighters, they're very they can be very textbook at times, and you kind of have that old school Mexican style where your punches come from weird angles. So you feel like maybe that could give Inoue problems?
Yeah, definitely. Like they say, styles make fights. I think I got the style to give him a lot of trouble.
Okay.
There you go. And here's what he said when I interviewed him like 2 months later about Inoue.
I love it, and that's what I'm here for. To challenge myself. I know Inoue, he's probably one of the top 3 pound for pound fighters in the world right now, depending on who you ask. And me fighting him and beating him will put me in that superstardom. Will put me in that superstar status. And I love the matchup. I love the matchup. Like you said earlier, I've sparred a lot of Japanese fighters. I know how they all kind of fight similar, but of course, Inoue's in a whole different level. But I'm up for the challenge, and I love that fight for me.
So look, very very diplomatic answers. You're not gonna get Angelo Leo trash talking. He's not gonna go in there and say, I'm gonna fuck Inoue up or anything like that. All we can do, look, I can tell you guys as many times as I want. I know a lot of you guys just aren't gonna believe until it happens. So all I'll say is this: we're just gonna keep beating whoever top rank puts in front of us, and when Inoue wants to come up, he comes up. Now, the question is, when the hell is Inoue gonna come up? Because let me see where I have it. Inoue, right? Your guys' boy Inoue. He's made it clear. He made it clear right here. He said, "I will stay at 122 for 2 more years." So, and this was back in last month. So, if he stays at 122 for 2 more years, we're talking about he's not coming up to 122 at 126 until 2026. So, a lot can happen from now till then. I don't think Angelo's not going to lose. I don't think till then, but his body could outgrow the division, so we'll see. He said he wants to be physically matured and developed, but he will not move up to the featherweight category as of yet. So expect to see, if we're taking Inoue's word at face value, expect to see him against the likes of Merjan Akhmadaliev, because everyone wants to see that fight. Expect to see him against Sam Goodman and all these guys, and fights where he's going to be like a 25-1 favorite. These are the kind of fights that he's telling you guys up front he's going to give you. So let's not be surprised when it happens. The only way I think he would expedite or speed up his move to featherweight is if Bruce Carrington gets a title, which I think Top Rank is trying to make happen. Bruce Carrington's fighting Suleiman Sagawa next month, and he's a #1 WBA contender. I think in 2025, Bruce Carrington probably winds up fighting Nick Ball. And then they go ahead, and if he wins the title, that I think would be the fight where Inoue would move up, because it'd be a fight where I think stylistically it could go very well for him. I think it does bode well for him just because of the experience factor and the style in which Shushu fights, I think would favor him. But I think I think I'm going to take him at his word. I'm going to take him in a way. If he's saying he's not moving up for 2 more years until 2026, then shit, he moving up until 2026. So who knows, man? Maybe he saw the Venado Lopez knockout and he said, "Hell no, I don't need none of that. Let me stay here and fight Merjan." Because he's seen what Angelo. I'm sure he's heard about what Angelo did to Merjan in sparring in the infamous sparring session. But no, all jokes aside, last thing I'll say about Angelo and Inoue and this Angelo in general, because I'm going to talk about Venado Lopez now, and we're an hour in already, so shout out to you guys that are here with me. All I'll say is this. All we can do is continue to get better, continue to study, continue to sharpen the blade, and become such an exciting attraction in boxing to the point where you guys, the fans, want to see Angelo Leo fight Inoue. We don't want to just have it handed to us. We like to earn it. So if Bob Arum and Top Rank and the fine folks allow, because you guys heard what Bob said. He said he don't want to make these unification fights happen. But if Bob Arum and Top Rank and the fine folks allow Angelo to fight, the guys like Espinoza, Nick Ball, Ray Vargas, and prove that he is the best in the division while Inoue is down there 122, then you guys will see that everything I'm saying is nothing but the stone cold truth. So I'll leave it at that. I will leave it at that. Inoue is not moving up to 126, and he put the cherry picking him. Yeah, honestly, look, I don't want to put him down because I love Inoue. Inoue is one of my favorite fighters. For Christ's sakes, I went to Japan myself, went to his gym to try to interview him. So that'll tell you how much I love the guy. And I've covered him for a long time before a lot of people cared about him. But yeah, that is kind of how I see it. I see him staying at 122 as just him cherry picking. Look, I understand what he said and I get it, but like, you're gonna sit there and fight Merjan and these guys? Like, come on, man, Merjan. Like, you gonna fight Elijah Pierce? I mean, because at some point, if Elijah Pierce keeps winning and whatnot, I'm gonna want him to fight Elijah Pierce. You're gonna fight Elijah Pierce? I mean, I wouldn't mind that fight, but I know, like, boxing fans don't want to see him fight Elijah Pierce. So I'm just saying, like, what fights at 122? And you guys tell me, because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Unfortunately, I am a product of the Broward County public education system. So sometimes I can be slow. You guys tell me, where at 122 are the intriguing, riveting fights for Nia Inoue? Because he's already conquered the division. Wait, is he going to go to Telford and fight Liam Davies? Is he going to fight John Rio Casimiro? Because that's still a big fight, even though Casimiro's past it. Is he going to fight Aaron Alameda, who Angelo already beat? Who's he going to fight? What are the fights? Tell me. I'm not that smart. Tell me, what are the fights at 122? I really think he's wasting time. That's just how I feel. But he has a plan. I respect to him. I hope he comes. I want him to win. I want him to be the best Inoue possible, so that when Angelo beats him, we get all the credit in the world. Inoue for me is too fast and too slick, in my opinion. But we'll see. How are you doing, bro? I'm doing good. I'm doing exceptional. Life is good. I'm healthy. I'm blessed. I finally ended the drought. 50 days without alive, because 35 of those days I was in camp with Angelo. But it's good to be here, man. It's good to be seen. I think he's going to knock him out like Marquez Pacquiao that time. That's just what I think. You guys, do you guys honestly want to know what I think about Angelo Inoue, how I think it's gonna go? If you've never seen this fight, please go watch it. I think Angelo versus Inoue is gonna be like this fight right here. Where is it? This fight right here. I feel like Angelo versus Inoue is gonna be like Ricardo Lopez versus Inoue's promoter Hideki Ohashi. For those of you who never seen that fight, we all know Ricardo Lopez. And I know Ricardo Lopez undefeated. Angelo is not as great as Ricardo Lopez, at least not yet. Or he probably never will be, because Ricardo Lopez is undefeated, and Ricardo Lopez is arguably the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. He's in that discussion, right? So he's in rarefied air. I don't want to, just because Angelo's my friend, I don't want to be like delusional. Ricardo Lopez is Ricardo Lopez, but there are some things in this style, Ricardo Lopez, that are similar to Angelo. Just so you guys know, Ricardo Lopez is a personal favorite fighter of Angelo Leo. So if you watch Ricardo and you watch Angelo, you'll see some things style wise that are similar here and there. And Hideki Ohashi, obviously Angelo's not as good as Ricardo Lopez, and Inoue is way better than Hideki Ohashi ever could have dreamed of being. But style-wise, there's similarities for both fighters in the comparisons, and I just think that I don't think Angelo's gonna stop Inoue in no 5 rounds, but it's gonna be a different fight. It's gonna be like this fight right here. He'll get him out of there, but it ain't gonna be no 5 rounds. But it is what it is. That's all I have to say about Angelo. Let's talk about Venado, because it's not all about Angelo. Venado Lopez was the champion. We give him respect. We give Venado Lopez and his team the utmost respect, because without their team being men of their words, there wouldn't have been a Angelo Leo Venado Lopez fight. So I got a lot of respect for those guys, Fedco and I guess Kiki as well. Just everyone involved with his team, and God bless his entire team. So for those of you who don't know, for those of you who don't know, it was reported after the fight that Venado Lopez suffered a small brain bleed. Angelo hit him with the left hook, and his head bounced all over the canvas, and it was a scary knockout. It wasn't no regular knockout. When he hit him, and I saw him fall, I knew it was over, right? So that being said, is Venado Lopez done at the top level? Because that was the kind of knockout. It doesn't just change the trajectory of your career. It can change the trajectory of your life. And let's be honest, Venado Lopez, for all the great things he does, like as being the gunslinging athletic fighter that he is, Venado Lopez is a fighter that does get hit a lot. And one of the reasons why he was winning a lot of these fights was his chin. So now I genuinely believe he's going to have some problems in the punch resistance department, because now he doesn't have that in the back of his mind. It might make him a little bit gun shy. We've seen this with fighters many a times. These big power punching bully fighters, they go in there, they have that one fight, they get surprisingly knocked out, and they're never the same. I mean, a great example of that was a personal favorite of mine. Sergey Kovalev. I was a big Sergey Kovalev fan back in the day. When when Andre Ward, hit him in the balls and stopped him and whatnot. And hit him with a big right hand as well. I don't want to be a hater. But once he got stopped, he never was able to recapture the form he had on September 19th, 2016. That was like the official last night as the Crusher. He was never the Crusher again after the first Andre Ward fight. And there's been many examples of this. So do I think he's done at the top level? Personally, yes, I do. I think he took a very big beating from Angelo throughout those 9 rounds that led up to the knockout, and the knockout was an exclamation point. I think the weight cut was I know the weight cut didn't go very well for him in the fight, and he fought in the altitude, which I know had to do some damage on his lungs with all the damage he was taking as well. So I think he's done as a featherweight. I don't think he's gonna stay at featherweight. He can't make the weight anymore. He's a very big guy for the weight class. He has extremely huge calves. He's gonna be at 130. And the fight that Top Rank is talking about for the longest time at 130 for Venado Lopez is Oscar Valdez. And funny enough, I actually had the honor and the privilege the night before Angelo fought Venado I saw Oscar Valdez in the lobby, and I had a whole conversation with him. And he had disclosed that him and Venado are good friends, and he would love the opportunity to fight him. And this isn't news to me because I remember when I went to Oscar's fight against Liam Wilson, Venado Lopez was there. So the way I think it's going to go, this is how I think it's going to go for Venado the rest of his career. He will not be a featherweight. I think he makes an immediate move to 130. I think Top Rank will give him 1 fight, possibly 2 if they really like him, but at least 1 fight against a guy he's supposed to beat to get accustomed to the weight, and he'll beat that guy. And then after that, they will go straight into making Venado Lopez versus Oscar Valdez. I think that fight will be nothing short of a war. I think both guys are towards the end of their careers, and I think they both have probably at most 1 last war left in them. And then I think I don't think he's gonna box much longer. That wasn't no regular knockout. And what's crazy is I got told so much before the fight about how Angelo Leo doesn't have any punching power. Do you guys think he has punching power now? I try to tell you. Hopefully now some of you guys wise up and recognize that he got some power. But I don't wish bad on him. I didn't like hearing the news that he had a brain bleed. I know what goes into a fighter being in camp and the sacrifices, just the dimensions it takes to be a fighter. Because I see what Enzo goes through, and I have other friends that are fighters, and I see what they go through. So I would never wish a brain bleed on anybody. But I'll tell you guys, I'll disclose one thing about the Venado fight. The night before, the day before the fight in the lobby, I remember my boy Johnny. Shout out to Johnny. He went to go talk to Venado's team in the lobby, and Venado was there too. It was Venado and his manager, and I wasn't there with him. I was like off the distance. But when Johnny came back, I made a joke with Johnny amongst us as friends. I said, "Hey, did you tell Venado he's going to the hospital tomorrow, right?" And I wasn't wishing anything bad on Venado, but I'm really good at seeing things before they happen. Like I knew Venado had a bad weight cut. I know that he wasn't used to the Albuquerque altitude, and I know that Angelo Leo was locked in as he's ever been for any fight in his life. So those 3 things gave me the indication that he was gonna get a beating put on him of epic proportions. And a friend of mine who remained nameless told me that I couldn't say those things. I could have asked that question to Johnny, that is Venado going to the hospital? And I was trying to tell him, I was like, look, I'm not wishing bad on him. I just think that this is going to happen because he's not really prepared and his mind's not on Angelo, and he's having a bad weight cut. He's probably going to go to the hospital. And sure enough, he went to the hospital and he had a brain bleed. So, speedy recovery to him. Listen, Venado Lopez is an amazing warrior of the sport. He on a positive note, like he really is a feel good story because, and I think a lot of fighters could learn from the example of Venado Lopez, because here we have a guy in Venado who lost some fights early in his career, lost to, Abraham Montoya, lost to, Ruben Villa on Showbox, but through hard work and dedication became champion. He was brought in to lose against Gabe Flores, which is kind of funny to say now because Gabe Flores has gotten beaten up a couple times, but Gabe Flores was a guy that back in, like 2020, 2019, 2020, like this was a guy that Top Rank had legitimate big plans for. They thought he was going to be a champion. A lot of people that in boxing I know were pegging him to be the next big thing. And Venado Lopez popped that balloon and ruined him for life, for his whole career. And he's not even signed to Top Rank anymore. He has his own promotional company and he's just fighting in his cars in Stockton. So he's never been the same. So that was the kind of that's the kind of danger this man brought to the table. All right. Went on the road, beat some good fighters on the road. So he deserves our respect. He deserves our adoration. He deserves our prayers, our thoughts, our wishes. And I want it to be known that I'm praying for Venado. I've been praying for him every day since the fight. He just, he would have been okay. He just ran into the best featherweight in the world. So it's all good. It's all good, man. But look, I've said what I needed to say about Venado. I've said what I needed to say about Angelo. Y'all can ask whatever you want. I'm gonna stay up for like 10 more minutes and then I'm gonna dip. But if you guys have any questions boxing related, let me know. Shakur says, you talk about Ricardo Lopez, then I have dreams about him versus Roman Gonzalez. That would have been an amazing fight. Two precision power punchers with great defensive responsibility. I mean, two of the best pound fighters ever. I'm biased. I love Roman Gonzalez, so I'm picking him against the field. Let me see. How did he cash out with Canelo? Sorry if it's something I'm arguing. I just don't get it. He thought he could win. And you said what? Why would the Crusher care about boxing after getting treated badly by the industry during the Ward fights? That's why he cashed out with Canelo. Now I agree. I thought it was piss poor the way he got treated after the first Ward fight. Definitely after the second Ward fight, and then like the Canelo fight, he could have won that fight if he wasn't like, if he didn't just fight Anthony Yarde like, what was it, 5 weeks before he fought Canelo. Like it was a short camp. I don't remember the exact time frame, but he didn't get a lot of time for that fight. He took the fight, cashed out. It is what it is. I wouldn't care about boxing either. That this sport does that to you. Shout out to Hyro. He says, yo, BT, when are you going to acknowledge Juan? Let me get off screen share. By the way, shout out to all 21 of you that are still rock with me after I have been here for 50 days and I've been rambling for 80 minutes about Angelo and the featherweight division. Appreciate it. He says, yo, BT, when are you going to acknowledge my ass? Screw Inoue. They act like he's Shohei Ohtani. He's a great fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters in the history of boxing. But, yeah, he's not Shohei Ohtani. He's not making $700 million. And he's not anywhere as close to as famous as him in Japan. But he's very famous. He's very famous in Japan. I'll definitely say a lot more famous than when I went to Japan. BT, who do you think Julian Smith should fight next? Tito Mercado? That's a good fight. I like that fight a lot, actually. Julian Smith, he's made a big name for himself, beating the rest of Velasquez and now beating up on my boy Ergashev. Ergashev just getting exposed left, right, center. Why not? Tito Mercado got to fight somebody. And, I think Julian Smith will definitely be his best opponent to date, so why not? BT, oh, by the way, did you hear Roman Gonzalez not fighting Donaire? Roman said no. Any clue to which 118 belt he's targeting? Any inside information for us? So, as far as that Donaire thing, when I was hearing about that, I thought it was bullshit because I actually I seen Onito in camp when Angelo was sparring, getting ready in Vegas. When Angelo did his last couple of sparrings for the Venado fight, I saw Onito and Rachel a couple times before we left for New Mexico, and I'll tell you right now, he didn't look like he was in any shape to be fighting. That's the truth. So I'm glad he's not fighting Donaire. To me, that's a pointless fight because Roman Gonzalez, I think, by becoming a fight division champion, could enhance his legacy. No active fighter in boxing right now is a fight division champion. Not Crawford, not Canelo, not Inoue. So I think that puts him a cut above a lot of people if he does that, and it puts him in rare company. As far as which 118 belt he's targeting, I was told from a guy on his team who will remain nameless, but I was told that the belt they were initially targeting was the IBF. And I was told this when Emmanuel Rodriguez had the belt. So the IBF champion now is what? Is it Yoshiki Takai or is it Nishida? I'm gonna say it's probably Nishida. So I'm thinking Nishida is the route he's gonna go. Yoshiki Takai, I think, is beatable too because of his gas tank, but Takai is a bigger puncher. Nishida don't got no punch power at all. He's a good boxer, southpaw. They're both southpaws, Takai and Nishida, but I think Nishida is the more beatable guy. Good fighter though. BT, I know we all want to focus on real boxing, so forgive me, but I gotta ask: do you think Mike Tyson even cares? Sometimes I'm not sure. Absolutely not. I don't think. I just think when it comes to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, it's a cash grab from both of them. My thing is though, like Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. He could make a bag doing so many things. He could be in movies. He could keep doing his podcast. There's a million things Mike Tyson could be doing. He don't gotta fight Jake Paul, so I don't know why he's doing this. It don't make any sense to me why he's doing it, but it's his life, not ours. So to each his own. They act like Ward didn't beat him twice. Andre Ward did not beat Kovalev the first fight. That was bullshit, and I give him zero credit for it. I heard that Benavidez may fight Hot Rod. Boxing has got to stop this. Didn't Hot Rod just lost to Morrell? I mean, I like Hot Rod. He's cool, but like, that's ridiculous. But Diego Pacheco is fighting Sulecki in a couple weeks. I think Pacheco is going to stop him. Yeah, that's a decent little fight for him. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I like Diego Pacheco, but I'm not really too enthusiastic about that particular fight. Sulecki is a good little fighter. He was good. He was really good. Like, he was pretty solid like 5 years ago when Andrade fought him. But I don't know. I'm not nothing about that card because that card is in LA and it's at the StubHub Center or the whatever they call it now. And I was thinking about going with that. I looked at the card. I'm like, man, this card is putrid. It's horrible. So, I love Diego Pacheco, but I'm not going to that fight. BT, what's your thoughts if IBF makes Roman fight Seiya in order to become the Mando for Nishida? Seiya Tsutsumi? Oh man, that's a tough fight. Seiya Tsutsumi is the real deal. We don't glorify deaths on this channel, but Seiya Tsutsumi is a problem. You saw what happened to Kazuki Anaguchi when they fought. So, I feel like he should get the title shot, but if they're gonna make him go that route, then I think Roman Gonzalez and his team are gonna have some tough decisions, very hard, difficult decisions on their hands. Because Seiya Tsutsumi is a high risk, low reward fighter. What's up, bro? I heard you had tears of joy when Angelo Leo won. I did, and I'm still like I'm just really now almost 10 days after the fight. I'm just now really starting to come off the high, and it's really starting to hit me that he's the champ again. So I'm happy. I'm really happy, man. Because I'll tell you this: not many fighters can go through what he's went through in his career and come back the way he's come back. It really shows you his character, Hyro says, I can't wait for a real boxing event with PBC. That's right. Talk that Al Heyman shit, Hyro. That's right. Yeah, BT, number 1 and number 2 is vacant in IBF. That's why Roman should target Takuma. I would love for him to fight Takuma Inoue. I think he'd beat the brakes off Takuma Inoue. Takuma Inoue is a good fighter, but I think a lot of these matchups he's been having, they're flattering him a bit. Like, I think he's good, but I don't think he's as good as people think he is. I'm happy for you and Leo, bro. That was a scary kill. I hope Venado was okay. I heard he did. I'll tell you guys this. When I walked out of the Tingley Coliseum in New Mexico that night, as I was walking out the building, it was me, Johnny, and some of the people I went to the fight with. We saw the ambulance, and the ambulance drove by us, and I saw Venado in the ambulance, and he was completely motionless. So. You don't wish bad on anybody. I just wanted to win the fight and get a stoppage, but I didn't want to, hurt the guy and any of that stuff. But it's part of the sport. It's part of the sport. It's part of the harsh realities of the sport, and that's why you gotta take every opponent serious. You can't overlook no opponent. That's why people laugh at me when I say it, but even Canelo, as much as Canelo is a favorite, Edgar Berlanga can punch, and he better not overlook Edgar Berlanga because he could be like Venado. It's probably not gonna happen, but. That's the sport that we're in. everyone is down on the Danny Garcia Lara fight, but I think Arizona can be the first guy to stop Danny. I hope so, man. I don't like that fight. I hate that fight, and I don't like the idea and the possible scenario of Danny Garcia winning a pseudo middleweight title at 157 or 156, whatever weight they're fighting at, and then being paraded around like he should go to the Hall of Fame because he won a middleweight title when he didn't even fight at the middleweight limit. I don't like that idea because I know that if he wins that fight, that's going to be the narrative from like the media, from him, and I just spare me, you know? Is there literally no decent boxing events this Friday or Saturday? That's a good question. For me, the only fight that I care about this week is on the Pro Box card, which is on the undercard. It's Kevin Piedrahita versus Marcus or Dominic Valle. Kevin was one of Angelo's sparring partners. He gave him the most rounds in camp, so we want to see him get the upset. But and that's on the undercard of Jason Rosario versus Jarrett Hurd. But on Saturday, right? Is it this Saturday? Yeah, this Saturday coming up. You're going to have Floyd Mayweather versus John Gotti III. We don't give a fuck about that here on True School Sports. Brian Jennings, haven't heard that name in a while. He's fighting. And some guy named Olohuan Acosta is fighting in Puerto Rico. So that's a pretty slow week, you know. And then next week we got Elijah Pierce and on a Friday and then Diego Pacheco on a Saturday. So that's where we're at. No big-time boxing until Inoue fights, you know, no like real big time box till Inoue fights, and that's just what it is. But look, guys, on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. It was a great time on the live. I know it's been a while. I promise you guys, I will not go on a long layoff. I'm not gonna go live tomorrow, but I'm probably gonna go live on Wednesday. So tune in Wednesday. I'll be live Wednesday. I don't know what I'm gonna. I have no clue what I'm gonna talk about yet, but I had to get this live out the way. And just get my thoughts on Angelo and everything following the fight. So yeah, stay tuned for all the content. You know, we're coming up on 80,000 subscribers. When I hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna do a big party here in Vegas and probably one in Miami to celebrate. So maybe some of y'all can get invited and come out to that. There's more to discuss. So if we didn't get a chance to discuss something you wanted to discuss, just say it for Wednesday, because Wednesday we're gonna I'll go live again, and I'm gonna try to bring Pops on here on Wednesday. So I'll see you on Wednesday. Stay tuned for all the content. Keep supporting the channel. 80,000 subscribers is on the way, and yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.